The floor above me sounded like a stampede every night, thuds, screams, and loud music until sunrise. I knocked and pleaded for peace, but they rolled their eyes, get used to it. Instead, I got creative. Days later, they woke up to a noise so unbearable they ran out screaming, make it stop. I never thought moving into my new apartment in Chicago would turn into such a nightmare. The building was a classic brownstone in Lincoln Park with hardwood floors and vintage fixtures. I was excited to start this new chapter in a neighborhood I'd always admired. But from the very first night, my excitement was shattered. As I settled into bed, the ceiling above me erupted with noise. It sounded like a herd of elephants had taken up residence. Thuds, crashes, loud music, and even shouting filled my apartment, making sleep impossible. I tried to brush it off, thinking it was a one-time party. But as the nights wore on, the disturbances continued without pause. Determined to address the issue, I decided to speak with my upstairs neighbors directly. The next morning, I climbed the creaky staircase to the apartment above and knocked on the door. After a few moments, the door swung open to reveal a young man with disheveled hair and a disinterested expression. "Hi, I'm Alex, your downstairs neighbor," I began, offering a friendly smile. "I was wondering if we could talk about the noise levels at night. It's been quite loud and I'm having trouble sleeping." He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, and smirked. "Yeah, we like to have fun. It's a free country, you know. Maybe you should get used to it." Taken aback by his dismissive attitude, I tried to reason with him. "I understand you want to enjoy your time, but could you please keep it down during the late hours? It's really affecting my rest." He rolled his eyes and shut the door in my face without another word. Frustrated and sleep-deprived, I realized that a direct approach wouldn't work with them. Over the next few weeks, the noise continued, and my complaints to the building management fell on deaf ears. It seemed that my neighbors had free rein to disrupt the peace without consequence. Desperate for a solution, I turned to online forums for advice. I stumbled upon a thread where someone had faced a similar issue and had taken matters into their own hands by using creative methods to retaliate against noisy neighbors. Inspired by their story, I decided to get creative myself. I purchased a powerful Bluetooth speaker and a collection of unsettling sound effects. Eerie whispers, sudden loud bangs, and the unmistakable wail of a tornado siren. The plan was simple yet effective. Whenever the nocturnal cacophony began upstairs, I would place the speaker against the ceiling and play these sounds at full volume. The goal was to disrupt their revelry with noises that were both disturbing and impossible to ignore. The first night I implemented my plan, I waited until the usual ruckus commenced around midnight. I positioned the speaker against the ceiling directly below their living room and unleashed the sounds. The effect was immediate. The thudding music above me ceased abruptly, replaced by confused murmurs and hurried footsteps. I couldn't help but feel a surge of satisfaction. Encouraged by this initial success, I continued my auditory assault over the next few nights. Each time they started their disruptive activities, I responded in kind. The atmosphere in the building grew tense, and I could sense their mounting frustration. One evening, as I returned home from work, I found a note taped to my door. It read, "We need to talk. Apartment 3B. I knew it was from my upstairs neighbors. Taking a deep breath, I climbed the stairs and knocked on their door. The same young man answered, looking more haggard than before. Behind him, his roommates peered out with wary expressions. "Look," he began, rubbing the back of his neck, "we've been having some disturbances lately. Weird noises in the middle of the night. It's freaking us out." Feigning innocence, I replied, "Oh? I've been experiencing some disturbances myself. Loud music and heavy footsteps during the night. It's been quite unsettling." He shifted uncomfortably. "Yeah, about that. We didn't realize how loud we were being. We're sorry. Can we call a truce? We'll keep it down from now on." I nodded, suppressing a smile. I think that would be best for everyone. True to their word, the nights grew quieter, and I was finally able to enjoy the peace I had longed for. The creative approach had worked, and harmony was restored in our little corner of Chicago. Things were quiet for maybe 2 weeks. I slept better. No more stomping. No more random yelling at 3 a.m. I started to believe it was over. Maybe they learned their lesson. Maybe I could actually enjoy this place. Then, out of nowhere, it got worse. Not the music. That stayed low. But the tension? The weird energy? Sky high. It started small. I noticed cigarette butts all over my balcony. I don't smoke. Never have. First time I brushed it off. Maybe wind blew them over from somewhere. But then it kept happening. Same brand, same crushed filters. Every morning, fresh batch waiting for me like little messages. I started checking my security cam. I have one pointing toward my tiny balcony. At 2:11 a.m. on a Tuesday, I caught it. One of them, not the guy I spoke to, but one of his roommates, leaning over the balcony, flicking butts down with a smug grin. He even looked into my camera and gave it the finger. That made it personal. I didn't respond right away. I needed to think. If I did something too fast, too obvious, it'd escalate. I didn't want a war. I just wanted to sleep in peace. But that was a message. And now I needed to send one back. So I waited. Collected more footage. Cigarette butts. Loud stomps, just not loud enough to file a legit noise complaint. Weird vibrations through the walls like they were dragging furniture for no reason. They were trying to push me. Nudge me to move. I wasn't going anywhere. Then, one night, the lights in my kitchen started flickering. Just the kitchen. They'd buzz, go out for a second, come back. I figured it was wiring, this building's old. But then it happened again. And again. Only at night. Only when they were stomping around above me. It clicked. They were messing with the wiring. Maybe running something heavy upstairs, something that overloaded the circuits just enough to mess with mine. It was subtle. But I wasn't crazy. I started keeping a journal. Times. Dates. Sounds. Flickers. Everything. One day, while leaving for work, I saw the guy again, the one who originally told me to get used to it. He was leaning against the building, vaping, and when he saw me, he smiled. "You look tired," he said. "Rough night." I didn't answer, just kept walking. But in my head, I was done playing defense. That night, I dug out some old equipment from a college audio project. Subwoofers. Real powerful ones. I installed them in the ceiling. Not for music. Not yet. I started with brown noise, a deeper, bass-heavy sound. Almost impossible to place, but it shakes walls subtly. I played it low enough to avoid disturbing anyone else. Only directly upward. The kind of frequency that vibrates bones but doesn't get picked up clearly by most mics. 3 nights in a row, I played it from midnight to 4 a.m. Just like they used to do with their stomping. By night 4, they cracked. I heard them shouting, not partying, arguing. "He's doing it again. I can feel it in my teeth." Then a slam. A door. Silence. And then, they retaliated. They started hammering on their floor. My ceiling. With something heavy. Over and over. No rhythm. No pattern. Just noise. One of them threw raw eggs off their balcony. I found the splatter on my window. My car. My clothesline. It was worn out. I started sleeping during the day like a vampire. Worked remote so I could flip my schedule. At night, I launched my own campaign. I found clips of screaming goats, screeching violin notes, horror movie screams. Played them randomly. Never the same sequence. Never the same volume. Sometimes barely audible. Sometimes so loud it made my plates rattle. Always from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. They started leaving their apartment during those hours. One night, I heard them run down the stairs, out the front door. Slam. No words. Just running. Like they were trying to get away from something. But I wasn't done. The next week, I saw a "for rent" sign go up in their window. But that's not where it ends. Because one of them stayed behind. And he's not playing anymore. So yeah, one of them stayed behind. The others? Gone. Vanished overnight. No moving truck. No goodbyes. Just gone. The noise stopped. The stomping. The weird wiring stuff. All of it. But roommate number 3? The one who flipped off my camera? Still there. I didn't see him much. I knew he was home because lights were on at weird hours. But he kept to himself. I figured maybe he couldn't break his lease. Maybe he was just biding his time until he could move. I backed off too. I stopped the late-night noises. I shut off the brown noise. Let things settle. And then weird stuff started happening. First, it was the packages. I'd come home from work and find deliveries that weren't mine. Boxes full of random junk. A toilet seat. A gallon of mustard. A single left shoe. Addressed to me. From places I never ordered from. Then came the food. Random pizza deliveries. Chinese takeout. Always late. Always wrong. Always cash on delivery. At first, I thought it was some mix-up. But when a guy from Grubhub handed me a half-eaten bag of fast food and said, "You again?" I knew it was deliberate. I checked my account. My name had been used to make burner orders. My email was leaked. My phone number started getting spammed. Then the real kicker, I started getting calls from random people at 2, 3, 4 a.m. Hey, you posted the ad about free baby goats on Craigslist? You still giving away the couch? You got those fireworks for sale? I hadn't posted a thing. He was doing it. He was trying to drive me nuts slowly. Turn my life into a joke. And I'll admit it started to work. I became paranoid. Couldn't sleep again. My doorbell gave me a panic response. Every buzz, every call, every package had me on edge. Then I remembered the camera. I checked the footage again. Nothing obvious. But in one clip, around 3:14 a.m., I caught him. He wasn't on my balcony this time. He was at my door. Hoodie. Gloves. Trying to pick my lock. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't careful. It was bold. Like he wanted me to know. I called the cops. Filed a report. Showed them the footage. They barely cared. No break-in, no theft, no arrest. We'll file it, they said. I realized I was on my own again. So I changed tactics. I stopped reacting. I let the fake ads ride. Let the prank calls come in. I even left the weird packages out in the hallway, stacked neatly, for the whole building to see. And then I started collecting information. From a distance. I learned his name, Cody. I learned he had a day job at a vape shop about 15 minutes away. I learned he had a suspended license. But here's where it got weird, really weird. One night, around 2 a.m., I heard whispering through the vent in my bathroom. I paused. Listened closely. It was faint but real. Not talking. Not music. Whispering. Repeating the same word. Over and over. It sounded like my name. Elise. Elise. I turned off all the lights. Sat in silence. And then it stopped. Dead quiet. Like it had never happened. The next morning, there was a Polaroid photo taped to my door. It was a picture of me asleep taken through my window. I lost it. I left the building for 3 days. Stayed at a friend's place in Rogers Park. Didn't tell anyone. Didn't post online. When I came back, my apartment smelled like vinegar and bleach. Nothing was missing. But someone had been inside. I bought a new lock. Changed all my passwords. Got a second hidden camera. One facing the hallway. One inside, disguised in the bookshelf. I set traps, not the deadly kind. Just noisy ones. Empty cans stacked behind the door. Fake keys rigged to fall loudly if moved. Just enough to wake me up and catch someone in the act. For 2 weeks? Nothing. Then one night, I caught movement on my inside cam. Not at the door. From the bathroom vent. There was a shadow. Something slid a phone through the vent. Like he was trying to take a picture. I ran into the bathroom, slammed the vent shut, and blasted heavy metal music at full volume. Called the cops again. They came. Took a report. Said they didn't see signs of forced entry. Told me to keep an eye on things. This guy Cody, he wasn't just being loud anymore. He was watching. Waiting. And I think he's still doing it. Because last night, I woke up to a sound I'll never forget. Someone whispering through the vent again. Not my name this time. Just one word. Run. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the corner of my bedroom with the lights off and a baseball bat in my hand. Just listening. Waiting. The vent was quiet again, but I couldn't shake the whisper. Run. It wasn't just creepy. It was a threat. It felt like a final warning, like something worse was coming. And after everything, I believed it. That morning, I called out of work. I spent the whole day packing, thinking maybe I'd actually listen. Maybe I'd move. I could break the lease. Eat the fee. Get out before something really bad happened. Then I heard yelling upstairs. Not party noise. Real yelling. Rage. I pressed my ear to the ceiling. You're screwing this up, man. You promised this would work. Another voice shouted back. Something about baiting him and getting proof. Then a third voice said something I'll never forget. Once we scare him off, we own the whole floor. Rent goes down. My heart dropped. This wasn't random. They weren't just loud, trash neighbors. It had been a setup. From the start. I was the quiet one. The one who kept to himself. The one who could be pushed, poked, driven out so they could drive down the rent, maybe even take over the downstairs apartment. And the one guy who stayed behind? Cody? He was just the enforcer. The one meant to break me. It was a game. And I was the pawn. But what they didn't know, I was done playing. I canceled my moving plans. Bought a prepaid phone. Set up new burner accounts. And I started digging. I found dirt. Real dirt. Turns out, Cody had a sealed record, juvenile stuff but bad. One of the others had been evicted from 3 different places for harassment. And the third guy, he was squatting. Not even on the lease. I sent anonymous reports to the building manager, the owner, even the city's housing department. I shared footage, screenshots, evidence. Then I made a call to a local reporter. Small time, but hungry for a story. 2 weeks later, things blew up. The building manager showed up with cops. Not just a noise complaint this time, actual investigations. Lease violations. Illegal sublets. Code violations. One of the units had illegal wiring running through the walls, the flickering lights. That was them trying to reroute power for a grow operation upstairs. Everyone but Cody was gone in 24 hours. But Cody, he stayed. For a little while. Until I finished what I started. Remember the hidden inside camera? I caught him. Clear as day. Breaking into my place through the ceiling vent. His face. His clothes. Everything. I sent the video to the landlord. Then the cops. Then the reporter. This time it stuck. They raided the unit at 3 a.m. on a Friday. Busted him with lockpicking tools, footage from my apartment on his phone, and a stash of substances tucked under the floorboards. The reporter ran a full piece, tenants terrorized by neighbor in Lincoln Park apartment. My face wasn't in it, but the story was clear. He was charged. Evicted. Blacklisted from multiple leasing companies. His job? Gone. Reputation? Toast. But here's the twist. After all of it, I didn't stay either. I moved a month later. Not because I was scared. Because I changed. I became someone else through all this, someone who watches vents, who sleeps with one eye open, who doesn't trust neighbors or small talk or quiet nights. I got what I wanted, revenge, justice, peace. But I lost something too. I don't smile at neighbors anymore. I don't trust a knock at the door. And sometimes, even now, I swear I still hear whispering. But now, I whisper back, try me.